The United States and several allies launched sanctions on China over what U.S. officials are calling a genocide of Uyghur Muslims in that country. U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken says, in part, a united transatlantic response sends a strong signal to those who violate or abuse international human rights. This morning, the European Union approved measures against 4 Chinese communist officials. Beijing responded with sanctions against the EU. Joining us now is Tom Farr, president of the Religious Freedom Institute. Dr. Farr, thank you so much for joining us today. We really appreciate it. I'd like to start off by getting your thoughts on the sanctions against the Chinese officials. Do you think that was the proper route to go, so to speak, and do you think they go far enough?
Absolutely. It was the right thing to do. I'm encouraged by Secretary Blinken. I'm encouraged by what he did in Anchorage last week, where he did a shot across the bow, directly across the table from the Chinese. He's not backing away. This is a small step, but it's very important. You'll recall perhaps that Secretary Pompeo under the previous administration declared genocide. This was a genocide. Ambassador-at-Large Sam Brownback declared that China was conducting a war on faith. This continues this, but expands it by bringing to bear, as he said, our partners, the Canadians, the United Kingdom, especially the EU, which is not engaged in something like this. So it's a very important step for something that really needs to get much larger.
Overall, do you think any of the pressure being mounted against China regarding the Uyghur Muslims is actually working? And what exactly would you like to see happen?
Well, it's not working yet. And it's going to work in increments, if at all, by causing the Chinese, because of international embarrassment or because of some costs, we're not allowing certain officials into our country or into the EU countries, officials that have some authority over these concentration camps. And I would remind your viewers that these Muslims, hundreds of thousands of them, innocent men, women, and children, are being subjected to horrific crimes against humanity, torture, rape, medical experiments. These are concentration camps. We need to remember that. The Chinese are not going to change this unless we can ramp up the pressure. So I really hope the Biden administration will do this. I hope that they will replace Ambassador Brownback with an ambassador at large very, very quickly. We should remember what the Chinese are doing here. This is a communist party. It is a totalitarian state, which is doing what communist totalitarians have done throughout history. They're attempting to remove all dissidents from within their state so they can expand their power around the world. They want to become the #1 power in the world. The United States stands in the way. If we can see this as a national security issue for us, as well as a human rights humanitarian issue, 2 sides of the same coin, we will expand what we're doing. We'll make the pain even worse for the Chinese. It's too much to expect that this will end, but we are giving hope to the Uyghurs. We're giving hope to other religious communities inside China and to the people of Hong Kong that not only the West, but the world is paying attention. So this is very important.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Dr. Farr, thank you so much for coming on and speaking to us about this very important subject. We really appreciate it. Tom Farr, president of the Religious Freedom Institute. Thank you again.
Thanks for having me.